Some of the most idolized men of history today are the wrong ones. And it's not that I doubt that Caesar, Aurelius, and Napoleon weren't great men. I simply believe there'd be more applicable idols than a cutting tyrant, a stoic emperor, or a general who couldn't hold his empire. Jan Zizka, I think, is one of those men. He developed wagon fort tactics and turned peasants and their simple tools into effective armies, pioneering the use of gunpowder weapons with pistol and field guns, and became one of the most effective generals to ever live. He defeated 2 crusades and crushed local enemy forces. He had a record 14-0 for battles even after being blinded by stray fire, and he was a man who lived with his troops and innovated constantly. His magnum opus was the Battle of Hora. Trapped in a hostile town and being marched on by 50,000 crusaders, he rallied his troops and broke out of the city in a long column of weapons, smashing through the blockade before splitting his army and doubling back to crush the invaders. He freed the Czech and the Hussites from the tyrants of Europe. He never took additional lands for his service, but was granted a castle. Žižka was a man who fought for his people and cared about them to the end. His final words were said to be a request for his skin to be made into a war drum, so even in death he could lead his men into battle. When he died, his soldiers called themselves the orphans because they felt like they had lost their father. These are the men society needs, not emperors or tyrants, but men in service to their people. I will link to a video and a book that helped me discover more about this hero, as it's just a tiny fraction of his story. But I challenge you to learn about him and find others in history worth modeling yourself after. I leave with this quote associated with him: "The one who fights for nothing dies for nothing."